Good morning again, and welcome once more to the Educator Effectiveness Ratings and Data Appeals Window webinar. We are ready to get started. So before we do, just a little bit of technology check. You should be able to right now be seeing a PowerPoint on your screen and also hearing a facilitator talk. If you did end up using the conference call line to call in, please make sure you mute your phone. Otherwise, we tend to get feedback or can hear what's going on the other line. If you're having any difficulty with technology, please use the Q&A pod to inform us, or you can also email mde@evals@michigan.gov. Also, while we go through our webinar this morning, the participants' microphones will be disabled due to the number of participants, so please enter all questions in that Q&A pod. And as described before, we will try to get to every single question that we can, and if there's a question or two that we miss, we will get that answered and then sent out in the Q&A document in the follow-up email to everybody afterwards. As said, there are links and files at the bottom of your screen. Those will be going away shortly, but they'll come back at the end of the presentation for you to download or use if you'd like to. With that, just a quick welcome and introduction. I am Marty Snitchen. I'm a department analyst at the Office of Educator Excellence here at MDE.
I am Melanie Love, a departmental analyst with the Office of Educator Excellence here at MDE.
And my name is Caitlin Groom. I'm a data collections analyst with CEPI, the Center for Educational Performance and Information.
Today our purpose and our agenda here, basically we're looking just to ensure that schools and educators have a clear understanding of educator effectiveness ratings. And to do this, we want to review the following. So we'll look at the legislation that influences educator evaluation, the effects that has on certification, effectiveness ratings and data presented and not presented in MOECS, and then the optional process for entering and or appealing ratings into the non-public school personnel report, or the NPSPR. So that's what we have planned for today. We're just going to go ahead and get started with kind of legislation. Just a quick reminder, if you did join us by conference call, please make sure to mute your phone so we're not hearing what's happening on your end. Thank you very much. So the Educator Evaluation Law, Public Act 173 of 2015, established educator evaluation systems for both teachers and administrators. It also continued the requirement of assigning one of 4 effectiveness labels, the highly effective, effective, minimally effective, or ineffective. And then also it gave new requirements for teacher certificate progression based on educator effectiveness labels for the most recent 5-year period. Real quickly, if you are having any difficulty with audio, if you're getting feedback, you may want to check to make sure that you don't have more than one window open. As we see, there's some people that have multiple windows open. So part of the educator evaluation law tied educator effectiveness ratings to certification. One of those is MCL 380-1531J, and that took effect just this past July. And that's the one that ties ratings to the professional teaching certificate. So in order for a teacher to now progress to that professional teaching certificate, a teacher must successfully complete 3 years of teaching, be rated as effective or highly effective for the 3 most recent school years, or be rated as effective or highly effective for 3 non-consecutive years, but also receive a recommendation from the teacher's current school administrator. And then there's other requirements that can be found in the document that's attached there and will be available through the link share at the end of the presentation as well. So that was the first big one, and the second one ties ratings to the advanced professional certificate. So basically, if a teacher wants to progress to the advanced professional, they need highly effective ratings for 3 out of the 5 most recent annual year end evaluations and not have been rated ineffective within those 5 most recent years. And they also have to meet additional criteria established by the department. Now, with that said, in the old certification system, we had the provisional certificate, which could be renewed twice, and then they would have to progress to that professional certificate. Because educator effectiveness ratings are now being used for that progression, obviously with non-public schools, it makes it difficult for those teachers. So there were a couple administrative rule changes in certification. The first is we have changed the provisional teaching certificate is now named the standard teaching certificate. And that standard teaching certificate can be renewed every 5 years in perpetuity without having to progress the professional teaching certificate. So instead of having, in most cases, 3-year renewals twice and then having to progress to that professional certificate, the standard teaching certificate now can be renewed every 5 years in perpetuity. But also because of those requirements tying ratings to certificate progression, beginning in 2017, non-public schools did have the option to enter educator effectiveness ratings into the non-public schools personnel report, the NPSPR, for teachers in an instructional position, and this included the past 3 years of data. So you're able to enter up to 3 years of data in the NPSPR. This process is optional for all employees. So it's not okay, we have to opt in and put in ratings for everybody. Non-public schools are able to put in ratings for as few or many teachers as they feel necessary. However, with us opting into the requirements, so if you do submit educator effectiveness ratings into the NPSPR, you are accepting the responsibility to comply with the educator evaluation law, Public Act 173 of 2015. There is no form that you need to send in to opt in. It's just if you do submit ratings, you're basically opting in to follow that piece of legislation. Part of the legislation listed 4 state-approved evaluation tools, and a lot of the questions we get from non-public schools has to do with those tools. Like, do you have to use those tools when making your evaluation? The answer is no. There are 4 state-approved tools, but the legislation does not require the use of these. It just states that whatever tool is being used, you need to be able to prove the reliability, efficacy, and validity of that tool. So you can use any evaluation tool of your choosing. You just need to follow that criteria set forth in MCL 380-1249. So real quickly, and we're just, out of our own curiosity and everything, we're just kind of looking at how many of the non-public schools are currently evaluating teachers. So we just have a quick poll for you, if you don't mind answering for us right now. Yeah, it actually looks like a majority actually has been evaluating teachers for several years, and that's great to hear. That's awesome to hear. We know that this may or may not be a new process for everybody, so excellent. We'll just wait one more minute here to make sure everyone has a chance to answer. All right, so a little bit more about entering ratings into the NPSPR. Basically, the window is open right now. So the time period to enter ratings is September 1st to December 1st of 2018. It's actually the first business day in December, so I believe that lands on the 3rd this year. But educator effectiveness ratings can be entered for teachers in an instructional position for the past 3 years of data. So again, when you go in there, you'll be able to add up to 3 past years. Also, if you already used or if you already entered ratings into the system last year and you found that there was some inaccurate data from a past submission can also be appealed, and that can be appealed up to 5 years of data. So obviously that 5 years won't apply right now since this just started last year with 3 years, but in years to come, every year with this window, you'll have that option to update inaccurate ratings for the past 5 years. And basically, if a teacher needs ratings for certification or finds his or her evaluation data is inaccurate, they should work with the school. Also, as school administrators, you can also make sure that teachers are getting this information so that they're aware and can work with you to get those ratings. So basically, there's a couple things that teachers should be doing during this process as well. So teachers should log into their MOECS account and check the accuracy of their evaluation data. Many non-public school teachers obviously will not have data at this point, but if they need ratings for certificate progression, they'll want to work with the school, as we just said, to ask about having the ratings entered for them. If there's a discrepancy in their data, they'll also have to work with the school to make sure that those get updated and to make sure that they follow up to ensure that the data is properly submitted during that September 1 to December 1 appeals window. Also on the school side of things, just make sure that educators are kind of receiving information like this so they understand what they should be doing during this window. And at the school level, if you've already been entering ratings, checking the accuracy of ratings, making sure that those ratings are accurate within the NPSPR. All right, and with that, we'll pause just a second to see if there's any questions over this first little section of information. And please, as we said, as we go along here and a question pops in your head, just feel free to put it in that Q&A section. The Q&A section is private. Only if we respond publicly to your question will everyone be able to see it. We will, as I said, if we don't get to your questions today, we will make sure to answer those and send it out in the Q&A document at the end. It looks like we do have a question that's just come in. So the question is, do administrators need effectiveness ratings to renew also? And the answer is no. Although the educator evaluation law does require ratings for administrators, it does not tie their certification progression to ratings. And because this option to opt in is really optional per employee for non-public schools, yeah, there is no tie between administrators and educator effectiveness ratings for certification. We're going to actually talk about that in a little bit as well. So we have a couple questions that are coming in, so we'll try to get a couple of these. So another question has come in, and it's just asking, is there a way to log in and view whether or not effectiveness ratings were entered last year?
So there is a way to do that within the non-public school personnel report, the NPSPR collection. So when we get to the section on the NPSPR, we can show you where that would be at and how you would access that. But like I said, those there'll be some pictures in incoming slides that will go over how to do that.
All right, so it looks like we have most questions answered at this point, and we do have much more to show you and present, and so we will get to the actual entering of data into the NPSPR here in a couple minutes. Right now, I'm going to actually turn it over to Melanie Love to talk about effectiveness ratings and certifications that require ratings.
Thank you, Marty. Okay, so first thing we're going to cover is who needs ratings for certification. You just heard Marty say that administrators do not need ratings, but we're going to talk about some of the teachers who need ratings in order to be certified or to renew their certification or progress. So teachers labeled in instructional roles who are progressing from the standard teaching certificate to the professional teaching certificate would need ratings. Teachers who are progressing from the standard career technical education or CTE certificate to the professional CTE certificate would need ratings. Teachers who are progressing from the professional teaching certificate to the advanced professional teaching certificate would also need ratings. And teachers who are renewing their advanced professional teaching certificate would need ratings. So who does not need ratings for certification? So teachers who are not progressing to the next level certificate will not need ratings in order to renew a standard teaching certificate. Teachers who already have a professional teaching certificate that they would like to renew do not need ratings. Teachers who are renewing a standard CTE certificate will not need ratings. Teachers who are renewing a professional CTE certificate will not need ratings. And school administrators, licensed school guidance counselors, and school psychologists also do not need ratings for certification. So here we come to our second poll of the webinar. And this poll is asking you how many teachers at your school do you believe qualify for and are interested in progressing to the professional teaching certificate or the advanced professional teaching certificate. So we'd just like that for our own information. So if you could respond to that poll, we greatly appreciate it. Okay, we're just going to give just a few more minutes for the polls, for the results to come in. Looks good, looks good. Okay, I'm just going to move on to the next section, which is who can view ratings. So, a lot of times we get questions from teachers asking if another district can view their ratings. Maybe they got a rating that they weren't happy with and they're worried that this will keep them from getting other jobs. So you should know that for one thing, the ratings are entered into the REP, or the Registry for Educational Personnel for public school employees, and into the non-public school personnel report, or the NPSPR, for non-public school employees. These ratings are made viewable for teachers coded in instructional roles, and they're used for certification purposes in MOECS. Only teachers and select authorized employees at MDE and CEPI can view the ratings. Districts can only see the ratings that they enter. And administrators cannot view their ratings in MOECS because the ratings are not needed for administrator certification, and they're not pulled into MOECS for that reason. If you would like to see your rating and you are an administrator, you should ask for a screenshot from your district. Also, non-instructional employees cannot see their ratings, so they would also need to ask the district for a screenshot. Okay, so how to read the effectiveness rating screen in MOECS. So if you want to view your ratings in MOECS, the first thing you need to do is log into your MOECS account and then click on the Effectiveness Ratings tab on the left or in the lower third of the screen. And we have those indicated on the slide. So after you have clicked on your Ratings tab, you'll come to a page that looks like this. And so what we have here is the school year that the rating was for, the district that entered the rating, and the submission date of the rating. And the actual rating is on the far right hand side. Okay, and in this particular case on this page, you see that the third rating is a hyperlink, and that indicates that the rating was appealed, and as a result of that appeal, it was changed. And the figure 2 shows you the history of that rating. So the first rating was entered on June 6th of 2015 as effective, and then it was appealed and changed in October of 2016. So this teacher went from an effective rating to a highly effective rating, and that's what it will look like when you submit an appeal and the appeal actually results in a changed rating. Okay. So what if you have no data on your ratings page in MOECS? This can be for a number of reasons. For one, you work for a non-public school and the school has not opted to enter ratings. The school district may have incorrectly reported to the rep that your position was non-instructional, or your PIC number does not match the one entered into the NPSPR. If your position was reported correctly as non-instructional, you need to contact your district and ask for a printout of your evaluation ratings from the rep if applicable. If you taught at a non-public school exclusively, then you are likely not to see your ratings, and it'll look like this slide. There will be no ratings in MOECS for you or for the teachers who are teaching at non-public schools. But we wanted to share some of the other possibilities of what the rating tab would look like for teachers who have worked in public schools as well as non-public schools. But most likely, if a teacher has worked exclusively in a non-public school, their ratings tab will look something like this. And please keep in mind that incorrect assignment codes entered by public schools cannot be corrected during the appeals window. Okay, so let's say that a teacher has a ratings tab that looks like this. In this case, there are about 8 ratings for the same school year for this teacher. And this can happen for a number of reasons as well. For instance, if you worked for multiple school districts and each entered an effectiveness rating for you, then you would have multiple ratings for that school district. If a non-employing school district entered a rating for you in error, you would have a rating for that school, and you can look at your ratings tab and see a school that you know you didn't work for, a district you know you didn't work for, then you know that that rating was entered in error. Or you taught online or virtual classes and you taught in a classroom, in which case you would have if you were evaluated for in both positions, you would have a rating for the virtual class as well as the classroom. For certification purposes, the ratings default to the higher rating. So in this case, this teacher, the rating that would count for certification would be the highly effective rating. The only exception would be for the advanced professional certificate. If you have an ineffective rating and you are applying for an advanced professional certificate, that ineffective rating will prevent you from progressing to that certificate. And also, we wanted to point out that there are some leave situations that also might indicate either a multiple rating or an incorrect, or maybe what you would think of as an inaccurate rating. If someone leaves a position on medical or maternity leave or something like that, they may have some guidance from their local district that says that the evaluation data from that year will be used, even if the teacher was not in the classroom when that rating was submitted. So if there's enough evaluation data from that year, sometimes the local decision will be for them to use the rating from the previous year. So if that's a case that you know of, or a case with one of your teachers, then you should tell the teacher to contact the district about that. Okay, so let's say there's a missing year or a missing rating for a school year that a teacher know that he or she did work. And this can be also for a number of reasons. For instance, the district did not report the teacher as employed for that school year, or the teacher was not employed with the district for that school year, or taught at a non-public school that did not enter ratings for that school year. A public school district reported to the rep that the position was non-instructional, in which case the teacher needs to contact the district for a printout of the rep submission, or the non-public school teacher should contact the NPSPR for a printout. Or it could also be that the submission of ratings for the, well, this is actually true, the submission for ratings for the 2010-2011 school year was voluntary, so in most cases there will not be ratings for teachers for that school year. But yeah, it was voluntary for that particular year. Okay, so if there are questions, you can enter your questions into the Q&A pod, and we will answer them at this time.
All right, just a quick reminder, if you have joined us through the conference call line, please make sure you mute your phone so we're not hearing what's happening on your end. We'll wait just another minute here if anyone has any questions. So one question has come in: how do we as a school upload previous year's evaluations into MOECS? So MOECS is where teachers can view their ratings. So to clarify, what we kind of showed you is what the teachers would be seeing once ratings are entered. The ratings are actually entered into the NPSPR and then pulled over into MOECS. And this question is perfect because it's the perfect segue into our next section, which will be entering the ratings into the NPSPR. So, and that's a question we actually get a lot from public schools and private schools, how to enter ratings in MOECS, and that's not where they're entered. Ratings for public schools are entered into the REP. Ratings for non-public schools are entered into the NPSPR. With that, we'll go right into that section. And we'll have Caitlin Groom take the reins.
All right, so we've talked a lot about the impacts of educator effectiveness, and this section is really going to kind of focus on where those evaluation ratings are actually entered into the system, and that is within the non-public school personnel report. So it is important to note that the non-public school personnel report is housed within the REP application. So we have one more poll for you. I promise this is the last one. This poll is asking, do you know who your school's non-public schools personnel report, your NPSPR user is? So the questions or options are yes, no, or I don't know what the NPSPR is, and that's a perfectly viable option. Hopefully you do know now because we just barely mentioned it, but that is an annual report that your non-public school should be reporting. It is not the same as the non-public school membership report, which is an application housed in MEGS Plus. I'll give just a minute, another minute. So it looks like most of our folks here today do know what the NPSPR is, so that's a good sign. All right. So now we'll go into that. So the NPSPR is an application within the Registry of Educational Personnel. That's the public schools comparable report. And the rep is a little bit more robust. There's a lot more data entry points that are needed for that submission compared to the NPSPR. We've actually already hit on one of those, being assignment codes. So within the NPSPR, which I'll show you some pictures of in a minute here, there is no assignment code data. It's really just kind of the basic information about your school employees. That data is used to meet school and safety requirements and allows the department to conduct the criminal conviction notification. So if your school is not reporting the NPSPR data, I would highly encourage you. In addition to the educator effectiveness needs, it really is a school safety issue. So make sure that you have somebody that's updating that report. So the NPSPR does require authorized users. I know we've had a couple questions on that, and for those of you who don't know what the NPSPR is, or if you were unsure who your users are for that application, this section may be pertinent to you. To become an authorized user of the NPSPR application, you do, so in the past it used to use the MEIS login, M-E-I-S. Now it does use a My Login, so you will have to create an account and request access, and this is a little bit tricky, but you have to request access within the My Login portal to the rep and complete an NPSPR security form, which gets signed by your lead administrator in the EEM. So that's a lot of steps and a lot of different places that you would have to kind of check in to get access to the NPSPR. However, we have a really great customer support team at CEPI. Our contact information will be towards the end of this webinar, but if you are having trouble with getting access or with figuring out all the different steps to get access, please do not hesitate to contact our customer support team. They are ready and willing to help you kind of walk through that process. So as we have stated, that the educator effectiveness appeals window and that educator effectiveness submission will follow the same NPSPR submission window, which is September 1st through December 1st, or the first business day in December. This year it'll be December 3rd. Kind of keep that December 1 in your mind for future years, of course. So within the actual NPSPR submission, districts or non-public schools can optionally enter educator effectiveness ratings for individual employees. So by opting in, you are not opting in to provide ratings for all of your educators. It is on an individual level basis, so you can use your discretion as to who you're actually entering ratings for. And those educator effectiveness ratings may only be entered if that employee was reported in the prior year collection. So if you have a new employee, this is their first time showing up in that submission, then you will not be able to retroactively add those ratings there. All right, so once you have become an authorized user of the NPSPR, this is what that kind of main page looks like there. So it's actually within the data submission window. You'll click on that personnel submitted. And what happens when we roll over into each collection is anybody that was reported in the previous collection will be pulled forward into your current collection. So unless you terminate them with a termination date, they will be expected to be reported in the next collection, and they'll be available there for you to make updates to. So once you go in and you select an individual, here we've selected John Smith from our personnel submitted report. This is what that screen looks like, that submission screen there. So as you can see, we're really just looking for those core demographic information, pieces of information. And then that date of termination is how you would remove somebody from your collection. And then under measurement data is where you would be entering that educator effectiveness information. So on the next page, you can see there are 2 steps to entering that educator effectiveness rating. So the first step will be to select that checkbox that verifies that the employee held an instructional position during the applicable school year. And once you check that box there, then the drop-down becomes available. So if you don't select the checkbox there that indicates they held an instructional position, you will not be able to select the drop-down. So it really is like step 1 and step 2 in order to get that rating entered there. So once you use the checkbox and indicate that they held an instructional position, and then you use the drop-down to select the rating that that individual received. You can update all 3 years or any combination of those years, and then with that submit NPSPR data for this employee that will update the whole record and save it with that educator effectiveness information. So once you have entered those ratings within MOECS, or within the NPSPR, if the teacher is not seeing their ratings in MOECS, the most important piece for you will be to verify that the teacher's PIC number associated with the MOECS account is the same PIC number that you are submitting within the NPSPR. So right on that main demographics page in MOECS, they will have their PIC number there, and right within your personnel submitted, you can view that teacher's PIC number. That's the individual identification code that we use to kind of match those records. So if it's not the same PIC number, the systems don't know that it's the same person, so we are not tying that data together. So if they're not the same and they are different, then you can contact CEPI. And our contact information is on the following slides. So at this time, do we have any questions on how to actually input those ratings within the NPSPR collection? All right, so with that, I will turn it back over to Marty, and he can close us out here.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, so just a couple of things before we wrap up here. Basically, kind of what to expect in the upcoming weeks and everything. So it says next week, but probably it will be before the end of this week. You'll receive an email that will have the completed Q&A form. So if you did submit something that we did not get to, I believe we got to all the questions that came in. But if you did submit something we didn't get to, it will be on that as well. We'll have all questions and answers built out for everybody to see. We'll also have attached the PowerPoint deck as a PDF file, and then a link to the webinar recording. We do have another Educator Effectiveness webinar next week, also for non-public schools. If you know colleagues who would like to see this and weren't able to. But after that one, we will take kind of the best recording of the two and post that to our webpage. And you can find all of our past webinars and upcoming webinars on our webinar page there that's linked in the slide. And then finally, right now, September 1st to that first business day in December, districts, PSAs, and non-public schools can submit educator effectiveness ratings and data appeals within the REP or the NPSPR. And also make sure that you're checking ratings for inaccuracies, or if teachers, see ratings with inaccuracies that they're contacting you, the school. Yeah, so date and time of the next webinar. The next webinar is, I believe, the 25th. So, oh nope, the 27th. It's a week from this Thursday. It'll be at 4 p.m. And I will, at the end of this, actually, I'm going to put those up right now. I will put a link into the web links for registration for there. We have it on our future and past webinar page. And I'll get that up here in a second. As we're going through resources though, one resource on our webpage, and it's linked on the bottom there under web links, but we do have links to all the legislation to do with educator evaluation. So that's Public Act 173 of 2015 and kind of broken out in each section of that act. That's both at the bottom of the page and obviously in the web deck, as you see. We also have several documents that are available to you, which are also linked in either the file share or the web links. But we do have kind of a document that summarizes a lot of what we talked about, reporting ratings in the NPSPR, and that is available on our web page, and there's a link in the web links, and also, actually it's in the file share. Sorry, it's in the file share, so you can download that. And it's right on top, that quick sheet there. Also our evaluation FAQs and evaluations at a glance documents. For certification, we have how to read your effectiveness rating screen. So those slides you saw from MOECS, a lot of those slides came from that document. And also our certification guidance documents. So that's just going to be a link to a page that has guidance documents for all sorts of different certifications that are available. And then on the NPSPR side, we have the data field descriptions addendum. So last year this was a new process, and there is a data field descriptions addendum that describes specifically that new field in which you can enter educator effectiveness ratings. So as I said, we have some links. The CEPI main page, that michigan.gov/CEPI. The non-public schools resources, so this just has several resources for non-public schools on CEPI's page. So that goes directly to those resources. The Office of Educator Excellence's main page, the Educator Services page, links there. So that would have links to educator evaluation, certification, all sorts of things to do with educator services from the department. Then we have a link to MOECS, so michigan.gov/MOECS will take you directly there. And educator evaluations at michigan.gov/MDE-edevals. And finally, if you do have further questions, please feel free to contact us. So you can reach educator evaluations at MDE-edevals@michigan.gov. Any questions you have over evaluations or effectiveness ratings can go to that email. If you have questions on certification, MOECS support@michigan.gov. And if you have specific questions on the NPSPR, please contact CEPI at cepi@michigan.gov, and the phone numbers for certification and CEPI are also listed there. So with that kind of wraps up our presentation for you. As I said, let me quickly add that link for registration for the next webinar. But other than that, we're so thankful that you joined us today. Hopefully you found this information to be valuable. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And yes, have a great day. Again, you'll be receiving a follow-up email with the PowerPoint, the question and answer document, and a link to the video recording. And I'll also put a link to the registration page for the next webinar, which is next Thursday at 4 o'clock. With that, thank you very much for coming. Yes, and if you are still with us, real quickly, I did add a link to webinar registration. It will just take you to our future and past webinars page, and under Educator Effectiveness, you'll see the listings of the upcoming ones. We have 2 more webinars for public schools, and then 1 more webinar listed for non-public schools. But again, thank you for joining us, and have a great day.